This is how I'm getting placements in 2024. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about what a placement is. Now, to me, and I'm just gonna be speaking on my experience, a placement is to me when I get one of my beats placed and then I'm able to make some money off that, whether that's through a lease, whether that's through an unlimited lease, or whatever certain options I got on my beat store, whether it gets placed through a label. To summarize, what I'm trying to say is, once I make money off my music or beat, I call it a placement. Because money is money at the end of the day, and that's what pays bills. This is how I go about locking in with artists. So when I first find an artist, whether that's on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram Reels, scrolling, whatever, I first try and find the Instagram. The Instagram kind of tells you how clouded somebody is. It gives you sort of like an insight on kind of who this person is. When you're just looking on a streaming platform, all you can see is songs, just music related content. Versus the Instagram, it gives you a little bit more insight into the personal life. After I found the artist's Instagram, I'll go on there, hit them up in the DM saying, yo bro, I like your stuff, I think we should lock in, I got some fire beats for you, something along those lines. A lot of times you're gonna shoot your shot and you're not gonna get a reply. Sometimes you are gonna get a reply, and the times you do, but this is what I do. I try to go for the phone number, because emails, one, they get flooded, and two, they probably give it to everybody. The phone number, it's a little bit more personal. Now sometimes rappers or artists or whoever, they don't answer the text messages or they don't answer your phone calls, but I do think it's a little bit easier to get a hold of people when you have their phone number. Now if you got the email, that's all you got, man. You gotta take the email and just flood it, bro. Like, I would say send at night too. Like, a lot of producers try and send at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. If they're all up all night in the studio from 7 p.m. till 6 a.m., do you think they're gonna be awake at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday? Probably not. So by the time they get to the studio the next day, your email is buried, right? So to combat this, I say send at 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 at night. And yeah, that would be my advice for emails. When you have their phone number, my advice would be keep it mostly music related, but also, check up on people too, because it's like, if it's a more personable connection, you have a little bit more responsibility to keep that relationship going. Just do your 50% and hopefully they do theirs. Sometimes you're gonna get ignored, sometimes you're gonna get blocked, sometimes people just don't answer for months and then they hit you up out of nowhere and be like, yo, we have the craziest song. So don't get discouraged, man. It happens to everybody. You gotta keep pushing and just keep working. So let's talk about my first way of making income as a producer and getting placements. First one is engineering. With engineering, it gives you another skill set to be productive in the studio. So let's say you're not the main producer. Not a lot of people know how to run Pro Tools, right? So that gives you another way to make some money, even be the person to play the beats for the rapper. And a lot of you guys, if you guys make beats, you have the knowledge and kind of like the understanding to be able to engineer vocals. It's definitely different, but it's not that much like different as far as concept skill, because the human voice is an instrument in itself. So if you think about it from that way, you're still using delays, you're still using reverbs, you're still using EQs. You're just using these tools in a different way to produce a final song. Now, let's talk about DAWs for a second. Everybody that I know or everybody that I work with, a lot of people use FL Studio, man, and I think it's really good. It's definitely one of the best softwares out there, I think, as far as beat production goes, just because it's very user friendly and easy to learn. Now, most studios don't use FL Studio. Well, 99% of studios don't use FL Studio, man. They use something called Pro Tools. Most of you guys are probably familiar, but if you're not, it's what they call, or it has the nickname of the industry standard. Now, I think nowadays it's changing more and more. I see a lot of studios use Logic and other DAWs like that too, in my experience. But Pro Tools, 99% of the time, is going to be the DAW you're going to be using. You might not like Pro Tools, but if you know how to use it, you're useful in the studio, giving yourself more power and more leverage to get more songs. If you guys are interested in getting into recording, check out my Lunchbox bundle. I'm going to leave it as the first link in description. The reason I mention that is because I do have my personal starter templates for all my artists an FL Studio that uses all stock plugins, and then I have a Waves version for Pro Tools. And then the Lunchbox bundle also comes with a bunch more stuff, so you get 15 samples and my personal drum kit as well. So you guys get best of both worlds. My next tip is collaborate, man. The reason I say this is because if you work with 7 to 10 other producers, let's say in a Discord, a text message group chat where you guys send stuff to each other, everybody generally knows 3 or 4 artists, right? As a producer, that's just kind of naturally what it is. Now, as you progress, you'll know a lot more. But you know, from the start and even just progressing, you probably know 3 or 4 artists that you know you can send this beat to, right? And if you're working with 7 to 10 other producers, those other producers probably have 3 or 4 other people that they send to, right? So by just working and collaborating with each other, you now have a network of 40 or 50 people, right? This whole I don't send loops, or I just cook up from scratch, or I do everything myself, you can do that, bro, but it's going to be a lot harder, okay? There's a reason why it's called strength in numbers. My second reason why I would say collab is because those are the people that are gonna help you progress, especially skill-wise. When I went to college and I started working with a lot of producers that went to college, I started picking up on different sounds, different genres, and that helped me grow too. So that's another reason to collab, is skill-wise, you will grow. Here are a couple tips and tricks that I use in my everyday producer journey that help me be a little bit more efficient. First of all, if you're sending more than 5 to 7 beats, Dropbox it, okay? It's $11.99 a month, but it's worth it, man. You're able to get 2 terabytes of storage, and you're able to just make unlimited folders. So if somebody's like, make me a pack, right? Let's say you only have 100 beats in your catalog and somebody's like, make me a pack. A lot of times I send beats out to the same people, and I do that for a multitude of reasons. Now, certain beats I don't, certain beats I do. Certain beats that maybe aren't placing as easily, some beats that aren't kind of connecting with an audience, I'll send out a little bit more here and there. And Dropbox is a great way to do that because you're able to basically repackage things in a folder aspect, and then it's a really easy shareable link that always stays up. So it's not something that's ever gonna crash, something that this link doesn't work. Like, Dropbox is a super reliable platform. Second thing, if you're sending in emails, there's something called a Gmail or a Gmail reputation or a Google reputation. And this comes from your Google account. So I'll leave a link to an article below and you guys can read up a little bit more on it. But the reason I mention this is because a lot of producers will send out a bunch of emails, right? And in doing this, you ruin your reputation with Gmail. And in doing this, it lessens the deliverability of your emails. So if you send out 100 emails at once, using Gmass or like one of these send out sort of platforms, and you don't have it set up correctly where you have business address, like there's a couple things to make it like a legal mass email, and I'll find a link to an article, but that's besides the point. By ruining your Google reputation lowers the deliverability of your emails. So if you're sending out a bunch of packs, over time your packs are going to deliver to emails less and less. And to combat this, I say send emails personally. I'm not saying that you have to write a personal message, but send emails personally. Like, just click on it and just drag the beats in. Second off, if you're dragging beats in to Google, make sure they don't go to a Google Drive link, and that will happen once it reaches like I think 25 megabytes, it'll go to a Google Drive link. So make sure that doesn't happen because people probably won't download it, and they'll probably have to request access. So that's not fun. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. If you found anything in this video helpful, make sure you guys leave me a subscribe down below. It's the big red button if you guys can't see. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video. And like I said towards the beginning of the video, make sure y'all check out my Lunchbox bundle. It's going to be a first link in description. It comes with my recording templates, stock FL Studio, and then Waves for Pro Tools, and then also my new and updated signature drum kit, volume 2, by the way, only available in there, and 15 full compositions, loops, samples, all of that, all for $29.99. So it's gonna be the first link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all in the next one.